Cool. And we're live. Hey, everybody, this is the Left Coast Discussion Hole. I'm here with Nar Warrior and my good friend Joseph Roman. Hey, Joe, how's it going today?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're glad to have you on here. Hey, Chris, how's it hanging today?
Life's good over here.
Awesome, glad to hear it. Cool. So, do we have something that we were planning on discussing, or I
Yeah,
think
we're
we
going to talk about Joe believes that we have a soul, and so we're going to talk about that and perhaps dualism in that context.
Interesting. That sounds like a really great topic, actually. I've often kind of approached people who are theists, and I've often asked them about what they think a soul is and like kind of where this concept sort of resides. It seems like it should have some sort of connection with our physical body if it does exist out there. So I'm always really curious where that connection is made for them.
Hold on
Cool.
for one second.
Sure,
Hold
no
on for one
trouble.
second.
So Chris, it looks like your overlay there is horrible.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
All right, cool. Despite the technical difficulties.
My overlay maker sucks pretty bad. But
Yeah, I've heard that guy is shit at it. Should never ask him to make you one.
All right, so I guess what I wanted to say before was, like, I do agree. Like, there's certain people that will say that, like, the soul is your mind, and it's your awareness. And I mean, I don't think about that. I think human beings have a soul, and I think we have a mind, and our mind is our awareness. Like, I don't take it to the extreme like a lot of theists do and say that, like, your soul is what's controlling you. Like, you have the ability to think. We're not robots.
So, what is a soul, and where is it located, and how does it interact with my body?
Hold on for 1 second. What is a soul?
What is a soul? Where is it, and how does it interact with my body?
Okay, I'll start with what is a soul. Like, your soul, it's not your consciousness. So if I misspeak here, I just want to offer that disclaimer. But it is your, um, your, I guess, moral compass. Your it's not a material thing. So saying where is it is kind of hard to say because you can only use those terms for something that's.
If it's not material, how does it interact with my body?
It's pretty much like. Like, let me ask you a question. There's things that are not material that interact with your body daily, like thoughts. Do thoughts not affect your body, your well-being, your existence?
My thoughts are in my mind. It's electromagnetic pulses that release vesicles that bridge axons. It's physiological.
But
So yeah,
okay,
it's testable, repeatable, observable.
okay. Well, again, like I said, like a soul is not something that's material. So to say where is it, I can't answer that.
Yeah, but so if it's not material, then how can it interact with the material?
I don't think there's anything that says that non-material things cannot act with material things. I don't make that claim.
Well, what's the mechanism by which this occurs?
Again, it's going to be. How do I want to say this? Do you have a moral compass? I'm not saying you don't, but do you? Do you know the
Well, I mean, it
difference?
depends how we define all these terms, but I definitely have my own version of my morality.
And what controls that?
Well, ultimately my mind.
Damn, hold on for a second. Ow.
Joe's just gonna redecorate while we hang out here. It's all good, folks.
No, I dropped something under the table, so I had to go get it. All right. So, what was your response? Because I did, like I said, I didn't hear it because something dropped under the table and I had to go get it. I'm not trying to make you repeat yourself.
It's okay. I mean, the question was pretty vague. Like, I'm not exactly sure what scope you're talking about, but I think ultimately it's my mind that makes the final decision on what I consider to be a moral act and how I act.
The best answer I can give you is your soul is pretty much like your moral compass, your ability. It's your personhood and your moral compass. It's your ability to know right and wrong.
So you're redefining soul as morality?
No, there's a different. What I'm saying is, it's your ability, your tool, your. I'm trying to put it in because I know we have pretty much these people that watch the show, and I know there's there's going to be some Christians and some atheists and maybe some agnostics or something. So I'm trying to use terms that I could get anyone to understand. So, it's basically like your tool or your mechanism of morality it's not morality itself, but it's your tool or your mechanism or your compass towards knowing right and wrong. And
what about empathy?
Was that?
What about empathy?
What about it?
Well, I think that's how I can tell what's right and wrong.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. I'm saying that your soul is basically your I'm trying to use kind of broad stroking terms here.
Just say what you mean and we'll figure it out.
Well,
you don't have to dumb it down for us.
Well, I'm not trying. Well, no, I wouldn't call it dumbing it down for you guys. You guys are pretty smart. I'm not saying you can't understand what I'm saying. I'm just.
I mean, like my dog has a moral compass. Like she has empathy for sure. She can tell when we're upset and it makes her upset, and she can be guilty. She knows when she's done something wrong, and she gets embarrassed. And so, would you say that my dog has a soul?
How do you?
I mean, we find these traits in a lot of the apes and stuff too, right? Morality is not unique to humans, but I haven't heard many people say that animals have souls.
I
don't want to characterize your position for you though. Like, are humans the only animals that have souls in your opinion?
Or do all dogs go to heaven?
No. Human beings are the only ones that have them. And I don't think that animals know the difference between right and wrong. They know consequences. They know if they do something, they're going to get in trouble, but they don't know why. They just know, hey, if I do that, I get smacked on the butt. Or I get put on timeout. They don't know what's actually wrong with what they're doing. They just know they're going to get punished for doing that action.
But I mean, isn't that the mysteriousness that you're ascribing to the soul? This moral compass, that they don't know the consequences clearly aren't the solution. They have just this feeling of right and wrong that's been bred into them from experience.
The thing is, if I know the consequences, then what need would I have with a soul to tell me?
Exactly what I just said. Like my cat Angel, who's right here next to me, he knows that if he dumps his food bowl on the dish, or dumps his food dish on the floor, he knows he's going to get put on timeout. Now, he knows the consequences of it. He doesn't want to go on timeout, therefore he doesn't do it anymore. But he doesn't know why it's bad, or you know what I'm saying?
It's because it isn't really bad. That's like just an arbitrary thing where you don't want food on your floor. I mean, my dog doesn't eat my other dog. She might spill her dish or whatever. she knows if she steals my food, she's going to be guilty because she knows that she took my food.
But does she know that now you can't eat because she took your food, or does she know she just took your food?
I think so, because she seems pretty sorry.
Yeah, I mean, likewise, Joe. I mean, my cat's eaten a jalapeno before, and now he knows that eating jalapenos is bad. I didn't have to explain that to him; he experienced it himself, and I don't know. I think he's he avoids things with jalapenos in them now as a result. I think he learned that pretty honestly. The fact that
My dog did the same thing with smoked mussel.
Oh yeah.
Smoked oyster, maybe.
Yeah, but John, you just made my point for me. They know the consequences behind actions, but they don't know okay.
But I know the consequences behind actions too.
Yeah, but you know why the actions are wrong. They don't. They
Because
just
of the consequences.
No, I mean, if murder was legal, would you do it?
No, because I know the consequences.
What if it's legal and there was no consequences?
There would still be consequences.
Yeah, the legality of it, I don't think is what's the question. The consequences are kind of they may be connected in today's society, but that's not really what we're talking about the consequences of murder.
If crack was legal tomorrow, I wouldn't start doing crack because I know what the consequences would be ultimately.
Yeah, there's a lot of legal things that we could do that we don't do because it's obviously bad consequences.
Okay, but I'm saying with something like doing drugs, it's going to affect your body, but the reason why I said murder is because if I murder you, it doesn't affect my body. If you kill me, if you murder me, it doesn't affect your body. It doesn't.
It would affect my body. I would feel terribly ill if I killed you. I have empathy.
Yeah, I feel ill and I feel bad for you and everybody you knew and myself because I know you. I mean
even just thinking of doing that makes me feel sick to my stomach.
Yeah, but okay, but there are people there are people that like a sociopath. A sociopath could kill someone and not feel bad. So is it right for them?
Do they have a soul?
Do they?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
No one ever said it had to be good.
Well, but you suggested that this soul is connected. The evidence for the soul is the moral compass, and now you're saying that people without a moral compass have a soul. That doesn't seem to connect, does it?
No, I mean like,
are sociopaths disconnected from their soul in some way?
There's people that could do things that they know that is wrong and not feel bad about it. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, but you said you're studying psychology, right? So we can study these people, and we can see that particular parts of their brain aren't triggered when they do these actions that are triggered in the majority of people. And subsequently, they don't feel the same emotions because they aren't being triggered in the same way.
But they know that it's wrong. But they know that it's wrong. Like O.J. Simpson. Like, everyone knows he did it. He even wrote the book, If I Did It. Now he obviously did it, but there's a reason why he would say I didn't do it, because he still knew that it was wrong, though he was completely comfortable doing it.
Well, he knew it was illegal.
He knew that it was wrong.
I'm not going to pretend to know how O.J. Simpson thinks. I mean, does O.J. Simpson have a soul or not? Are you saying that he has a demon soul, or?
No, I'm saying that everyone has a soul. You can know what's right and still choose to do the wrong thing, which is exactly what he did.
Well, I think that's sort of odd for me, anyways. I'm not sure if that really connects when I think about it.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you could say that OJ knew what was wrong, but I wonder how you're making that connection, right? Like, it's sort of we can't really say for sure how he felt about it, or even what happened on that night seems to be sort of under question, right?
People have different capacities for violence and different levels of empathy, and you can train yourself to be less empathetic, and So, and then there's some people that are, psychopathic. So this is just showing that, people's biological makeup is variable. So I don't see how that in any way supports a soul, the argument of people having souls. Like, our kind of seems completely beside the point, right? Like, we understand physiologically why people are different, so I don't see where a soul is needed.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Well, I mean, Joe, let me ask you. I mean, you seem to be kind of suggesting that it's sort of this moral thing. Now, me and Chris kind of have more of this idea that, we're talking more about empathy and very basic, things that most primates actually do experience. Now, I mean, if we could show that other primates experience empathy and moral compass and moral action in social situations, I mean, would we have to suggest then that these primates also have souls?
Um, sure. I guess go ahead. I don't think that they do, but if there's any way you can demonstrate to me that what I'm equivocating or what I'm saying is a soul is something that's present in all animals, then I'd have to say that, yeah. So.
Well, it's because it's weird. I mean, like, animals have basic sense of fairness, basic sense of right and wrong. They have very very specific social norms and shaming attitudes. Like, it's very it seems like a lot of these things are actually within many primate species. At least as far as the research that I've looked at. So I mean, yeah, I'm curious if there's like another mechanism we could look at that maybe the soul is connected to. I know sometimes it's connected to emotions or to other kind of things, right? So is there anything else that would be more indicative of souls?
Well, I actually probably should correct with what I was saying, but I'll do that towards the end. I'll continue going this way. You're asking if there's any other way we can test the presence of one in other animals. Is that what you're asking me?
Right. I mean, like, it seems like we're suggesting that any sort of moral, if we could prove that it was a purely internal moral compass, then we could prove souls. But I mean, I don't think that me and Chris agree that moral compasses are completely, like, externally based, right? We believe that they're subjectively gathered through our experiences, and yet, so for us, like, the presence of a moral compass isn't an indicator of a soul. It's an indicator of experience with moral social situations or ethical social situations.
Okay, well, when you were asking about what is like about with other animals and stuff, they said the problem that I have there. Hold on for a second. Hello.
Brief interlude, folks.
Hello.
I'm guessing it's Dave.
You mean Cyrano de Bergerac there, hiding in the bushes?
No, hold on. I'm gonna mute myself for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry.
Cool, Chris. Because yeah, I mean, I'm also confused about this, right? Souls tend to fill a lot of the gaps in theology, right? And I feel like maybe there's, like, I don't know, a disconnect between what I think a soul should be and what its properties should be, and, like, why I can't detect those properties when people try to point me to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it used to fill the huge gap in an understanding of anatomy and biology, but it's shrunk to such a state now that it's a tiny little filler in theology. But it's still, in my opinion, incoherent because I don't understand the difference between something that's undetectable, unquantifiable, immaterial, and something that doesn't exist. I don't know how things that don't exist can exist. or interact with things that exist. Not saying it's impossible, but if you can't demonstrate it, then I'm not going to believe in it.
Yeah, I mean the interaction's clearly what's important here. So we'll have to let Joe kind of come back on that. I'm not hearing anything kind of that I haven't heard before, and I'm kind of waiting for a few other things, explanations I've heard before. So.
Hey, just so you know,
Yeah.
I'm at where my mom stays at. So if you hear her come in the door and start talking, nobody's trying to be rude. It's just a smaller place, and
Okay. Just make sure she has the link.
What was that?
Just make sure she has the link
um,
in case she wants
well,
to join in.
Well, no, she doesn't use computers.
Ever?
But, yeah, no, she never uses them.
Well, you can set it up to her and just hand it to her. It'll be like magic for her.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't debate this anyway. Me and her get into our own interesting discussions. Like, she's Arminian and I'm a Calvinist, so we talk about like predestination and stuff. So I even get in debates with that over my mom. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's interesting. The debates get pretty interesting sometimes. Well, like I said, back to my statement that I was saying before. Like, but the problem is that I don't think you could find any presence of anything other than learning by consequence in animals. So I don't see where that even comes into the conversation.
Well, I think that's kind of the point, though, right? Is that we don't really see a moral compass ever being created except by experience, and that even in humans, it doesn't seem to be done by anything except experience. So we were curious if we had any other aspect or property of a soul that we might be able to focus on. Because we both agree that the compass exists, but we're disagreeing on where it comes from or where the source is, and I think that's a little harder of a discussion to have.
Well, you don't have to experience murder to know that it's wrong. Like, you don't have to, someone doesn't have to experience either killing someone or being killed, or which they can't really, you're dead, so you wouldn't have any feeling about that anyway. But
I mean, do you see how your argument with the 2-year-old, right? How they're not really fully self-aware or fully agent-aware sometimes is how they explain it.
Right.
So there's a 2-year-old kind of lacks that awareness that murder would be wrong, right? Because they don't know the consequences of the action, and that way I think that kind of supports our side rather than an internalized pre-recognition of the wrongness of murder. If that was the case, why don't babies immediately, as soon as they see a murder, or why aren't they born with an inherent property of thinking murder is wrong?
If a 2-year-old child had a dog and I went and killed the dog, are you saying the 2-year-old child wouldn't know that was wrong?
They may not have a concept of what happened to the dog, right? Now, I've met 2-year-olds that are sad over the death of pets, but I've also met 2-year-olds that didn't seem to really grasp what was going on.
Even my dogs play fight on a daily basis, and they're very careful not to hurt each other. And if it gets a little too rough, then they have the special little bark that's their safety bark, and then they stop right away. Like, they want to wrestle, but they don't want to hurt each other. Like, why don't my dogs just eat each other?
Why don't they just eat each other?
Well, if they were only thinking about what they desired and their experience of fulfilling that desire, then what would stop them from hurting another dog, right?
Have you ever seen a dog, like two dogs that are best friends and one of the dog dies? Or a dog that loses whose owner dies? Have you ever seen the emotions that they go through, like how heartbroken a dog is?
Well, I'm not saying
something dies.
I'm not saying that they can't be like empathetic or have altruism.
Sorry, Joe, but to answer your specific example where you said if a 2-year-old sees a dog die, the 2-year-old might not understand what's actually happened. But if a dog sees a 2-year-old die, the dog is going to have empathy and be extremely sad and upset. So how do you account for that with your model of a soul?
With my what?
With your model of a soul and your account of the soul, how do you explain that the dog would be upset about the 2-year-old dying, and would go to great lengths to protect it, whereas the 2-year-old wouldn't protect the dog or be upset at losing the dog if this is all based on a soul.
I'm not saying that animals don't have feelings. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is...
You said that the feelings come from the soul.
No, I'm saying the knowledge of right and wrong comes from the soul.
Okay, but dogs have that.
Okay,
and a 2-year-old doesn't. So how do you account for that if it's got to do with the soul?
Are you telling me that if I went out and robbed somebody right now, my cat would know that was wrong? If my
no,
cat
I'm telling you, if a dog that has lived with a child for 2 years saw something happen to the child, the dog would be very upset. But the 2-year-old might not be upset if something happened to the dog. So how does that mesh with the way that you define the soul for us?
Okay, listen. What I'm asking is, Angel, what's right and wrong? There's no answer. My cat doesn't know the difference between right and wrong.
Your cat doesn't know English, though. I mean, if you could speak cat, perhaps you might find out that the cat actually has a pretty well-defined idea of what right and wrong is for the cat.
Just answer my question instead of trying to make a different analogy. How do you account for that particular scenario with the 2-year-old and the dog?
Because I never said animals don't have feelings. I never said animals don't feel things.
Soul,
they bond too. They bond too. No, they don't, because they don't know the difference between right and wrong.
Well, then how come the 2-year-old? Then how come the 2-year-old with the soul doesn't feel the same way that the dog does? How come the dog's more upset about it than the 2-year-old?
If I walked up to a dog that a 2-year-old bonded with, and I blew its head off, I think it would know that was wrong. If I killed the dog, the 2-year-old. I think the 2-year-old.
I think that's the opposite of what you said a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well then let's shift it down to a 1.5-year-old or a 1-year-old. It's I think we're kind of on a sliding scale. We were using 2 because it was your example of where self-cognition comes in.
Jojo, you study psychology, so can you tell me at what stage of development the soul kicks in?
You broke up on that last part.
You study psychology, right?
Yeah.
So at what stage of development does the soul kick in and start working?
At what stage of development does what kick in?
The soul.
You're coming in kind of broken up.
Yeah, just that one word. I think he said the soul.
Maybe turn your camera off, Joe. It's just gonna suck up bandwidth.
I think it's you, Chris. You might want to turn yours down.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
It's active from the time that we become human beings.
Alright, I'll turn TV on.
That's fine. It's active from the time that we become human beings.
And that's at inception?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So a fetus would know that murder is wrong.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Joe, do you need a minute to catch up with your mom?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure your mom doesn't want to come on the hangout?
Yeah, she probably wouldn't talk about something like this anyway.
Okay, let's just take a few steps backwards. Okay, like it seemed to me that you were defining the soul as being contingent on our sense of morality, and that's how we got into dogs and 2-year-olds. So I don't understand how the soul is active right away, but not manifesting on a 2-year-old.
Well, okay. In order for me to I'll put it this way, like in order for me to know something to be right or wrong, like obviously I'd have to have some type of awareness. So I think where I messed up at is I'm not. What the hell is this? Hold on. Okay, it's just a chat. Like I think that. Hold on. I'm getting like a bunch of different things going on right now.
People are excited. People are excited.
No, well, it's David texting me.
David loves you.
What?
David loves you.
Does he end his notes with smiley faces?
Well, there's certain things that me and David tend to disagree on. So if I say something he disagrees with, he's texting me telling me that he disagrees with it.
Cool.
Like you would obviously have to have a consciousness or a self-awareness to know what's right and wrong too. He wouldn't say the soul is your moral compass. I would. So going off of what I'm saying. What the hell? All right, I'm ignoring. Okay, David, I'm not responding to your text for a minute, and I know you can hear me.
Is Dave just lighting up the comments now, or?
No, he's texting my phone.
Is there any way you could just turn off the phone and move away from the television?
I can't move away from the TV because it's a small place no matter where I go, but I can turn off the phone though. Right there, it's off. Okay, now that I had so many distractions, re-ask me the question, please, so that I can answer the right one, because I had like a million things distracting me.
I think it might be time for you to, for us to take a few steps back and have you define the soul again, because I think we've ran into a bunch of contradictions.
No, I don't think we ran into any contradictions, but sure.
Well, or just indulge me.
I think your soul is your moral compass. I think it's what is ingrained in you, not ingrained in you, but for lack of better terms, is what I'm going to use to know the difference between right and wrong. Now,
okay, so then how can a 2-year-old not have a moral compass and have a soul at the same time? That's a contradiction.
2-year-old knows the difference between right and wrong. If I walk up to somebody, their parents or whatever, and I kick your parents in the leg, they're going to know that it was wrong for me to do that.
Okay.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive about that. I mean, can you let me know? Is there any 2-year-olds you know that would let me beat up their parents and not be mad about it?
You made the argument earlier in the Hangout. You made the opposite argument that they weren't, that they wouldn't.
No, I said they're not fully aware of their own existence.
See, it's weird, Joe. I mean, if you study psychology, you should know that has a lot entailed to it, right? I mean, we're talking about a process of becoming self-aware, and sure, a 2-year-old isn't completely self-aware, but they've gathered like a lot of the cognitive faculties that a human being is going to be required to do, right? I mean,
yeah, I'll give you that.
They're not entirely without cognitive faculties, so it's weird. You seem to be arguing on both sides of the fence here, that sometimes they're able to determine what's right and wrong, and sometimes they aren't. And like,
yeah, in psychology, we would study the development of morality. We can test children and see their morality develop.
Exactly. So I mean, like, here's the thing: is like, since that's like a fact, like we know that morality sort of develops slowly with the idea of self-awareness and awareness. So the way that I've always heard Christians kind of apologize or kind of defend it is, well, the soul is the reason that they know the right and wrong. They're just becoming more aware of it as they develop. Now, is that maybe where you might go with that, or? I mean, I hate to give you the easy out here, but it's just if it's ingrained in them, it should be consistent. There is no. So what you're talking about maybe is the development of an awareness of this sense or an awareness of this soul. I mean, could that be what we're talking about here? And like, if that's the case, like, do you have any indicator of an organ that might be responsible for it, or like a way that development could be stopped or enhanced, right? That's what we'd be looking for to try to prove the connection between a soul and a human.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Doesn't sound like your phone's off to me. Sounds like vibrating like crazy.
I have a few different.
He's got a bunch of devices. That's
only
fine.
one of them. Yeah. Okay. Let me say this. Like, I think that there has to be a certain amount of awareness. I'm not saying that we have no part in it. What I'm saying is I mean, there has to be a certain amount of awareness to know the difference between right and wrong. But the compass that we have to guide that by is what I'm defining the soul as.
Is the soul aware?
It's not a material thing.
So why does it rely on awareness?
I'm saying we as human beings. I'm not saying, like, I can't. Like, you're aware that, like, your car isn't one piece. It's pieces of things working together to form an end goal, right? To move or to brake or to, stuff like that, right? That's basically what I'm saying.
Right. So if the soul was a part of my car, it would be a part that I could unscrew and hold in my hand.
I'm using something material to formulate an analogy to try to explain it.
Okay, tell me, how could something immaterial affect the functioning of my car?
There's things that are not. Well, let's put this. Hold on. I'm not saying that it could affect the function of your car. I was drawing an analogy between you and something physical to explain what I'm talking about.
But I can't think of any instance where the immaterial affects the material.
When I get done with it.
How long does it last?
As long as we want it to last.
Okay, because I can't hear the TV. And I know you love to do that.
Okay, hey guys, I have a question for you. Is there any way that we could? What are you guys doing later on in the week? Because they're being disturbed the fact that I'm talking and I can't go outside. I'll lose Wi-Fi connection. So
I'm free tomorrow, but then I got to work the rest of the week. But I think we had a good chat. We can just how about we'll just end this chat and then you can invite David and we can start a new chat with David and maybe talk to you next week.
Yeah, do that. And I'll just tune into your guys' conversation with him.
Cool. Well, why don't we just keep the same one running, and I'll send an invite out to Dave right now if he wants to come on, and I'm sure he's got tons to say. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Joe. I really appreciate you taking the time, man. And yeah, apologize to your mom. I know you guys are in kind of a tight living situation, so just yeah, man, just
yeah. When I'm at the other place, it doesn't. When I'm at the other place, it doesn't matter because we're sectioned off. Like we're away from the house, so it's all right.
Give your mom a hug for me and John.
Right,
yeah, man,
well,
absolutely.
I'll get with you guys later on in the week. We'll set something else up if we can do. Can you guys do like maybe Friday or something?
I think I'm going to be working every night, but my schedule is very dynamic.
All right,
yeah, mine also. Sometimes I'll get like an afternoon free and stuff like that. So I'll try to keep you posted if I plan on or if I have anything free, Joe. But yeah, my week might be a little bit booked up here, so we'll get back to you for sure though.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, talk to you later, man.
Right.
Bye.
Best wishes, bud.
There.
Sorry, I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Roman. Well, that was interesting. It's one of my favorite topics, really. I don't know if it's anybody else's.
No, I like it. Yeah, there's a lot to it. I mean, to be non-dualist, you need to have some sort of appreciation for brain physiology and whatnot. And if you're a dualist, then you need to account for this thing that's immaterial and doesn't have a proposed mechanism of interaction. It's a pretty tough position to take in my world.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm surprised he didn't go to gravity. Like usually people say, well, you can't see gravity. And of course we can measure gravity and test it right now.
Yeah.
But, to his credit, he didn't mention that.
Yeah, no, definitely. He stuck to his guns on that. I really appreciate that.
But I had some ammo I never got to. I mean, Dave may show up here, but I mean, you also need to account for how like drugs can affect your personality. And in physiological psychology, I mean, you do a lot of work with, if you create a lesion in the brain, it affects behavior, and people with brain damage can become psychopathic. Like it's been demonstrated how these things are a function of the mind through science. So yeah, I'd like to hear how if people with brain damage, if a little bit of their soul escaped there, or
Here.
what
Dave,
happened.
Dave claims consciousness begins at 8 days, not conception.
8 days of what?
I'm not entirely sure. Okay, wait a second here. There's lots of people
8
who
days
commented
after
on
conception, or 8 days after birth, or
try to find a recent one here. Does he mean 8 days after birth? Does he mean 8 days after the sperm eats the egg? Probably meets the egg, I bet. That's the ghost of Jason Burns giving that one. 8 days after the sperm eats the egg. Oh, that's fucking classic.
eats the egg. Where? Oh, Ghost of Jason Burns.
Yeah. Ron DeJoy. Excellent. Yeah, that's okay. Cool.
I've always wondered though, like, do sperm have teeny tiny little brains? Do sperm
an interesting
have
question,
souls?
right?
Because they look like they have heads, right? Like they look like tadpoles.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real question on a microscopic scale. But I always wonder about more sentient creatures, right? Like things that are responding to stimuli in their environment seem to be, I don't know. You could classify them as being self-aware, I guess. Like,
is a tadpole a frog?
yeah, that's a good question too.
Why
but it's clearly
is there...
alive, right? Like, it being alive doesn't mean that it is the thing it's about to become.
Why is there an expiry date on sour cream? These are the type of philosophical questions that keep me up at night.
It's a deep one. How come they always serve hot dog buns in odd numbers for how many is in a pack of hot dogs?
So that you'll buy more, dumbass. It never ends. It's like why. It's how you can never, ever, as long as you live, get rid of Canadian Tire money, because every time you cash in your Canadian Tire money, they give you more Canadian Tire money.
Canadian Tire money. I know.
You just need to embrace these things and accept that it's part of being alive.
Excellent. Well, I suppose we could open up the discussion hole to anybody who wanted to weigh in.
Should we shed a quick tear for Wendy Canuck, who is having a really rough month here, where she was forced to vacation on the beaches of Jamaica, was it?
Oh,
and is
horrible.
now imprisoned in a ski vacation in New Hampshire.
Well, well, Wendy, I mean, I'll pour out a 40 ounce for you a little bit later. That's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to get back to, the Great White North here and mend. With any.
Everybody, pour out a bit of your 40 for Wendy Canuck.
All right. I'll be right back.
We're going to have a brief interlude. I'll just entertain the masses here. Oh, have you guys
Good call. Just do a little patter or whatever. That's fine.
This is Shodu. Hey, Shodu. What's up? Say hi, Shodu.
Oh God. You're not making the dog dance, are you? I'm not watching, but I can still hear you. Wow, my computer is running really slow. If anybody wants to donate me anything, I'll take any computer post 2006.
If you go to our website, you'll see the donate button.
That's the first thing cult's got to do is put up a donate button.
Yeah. Like the non-cult that is the New Covenant group.
All right. Well, here I'm just gonna paste it in this motherfucker. Your comments can't contain links. Well, how do I do that?
Well, I guess Dave Sarche is afraid to debate dualism, so we'll just count that as having won him.
All right.
I sent Jason Burns an invite, but I think he may be blocked.
May have you blocked? Really? Why do you think that?
I think it was from when I was persecuting him.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I think now that he knows that we're kind of on we've kind of made our views known on the archive site, we might be kind of set ourselves up on the wrong side for him. And I hope that's not the case. I hope Jay knows that he's welcome to be on any of our hangouts, and we never really give much of a notice, but and I guess our timelines are sort of different, right? But
Yeah, it would be 1:30 in the morning, so Nanny would have put him to bed about half an hour ago.
right, exactly. Yeah, and I know his auntie's not feeling so well, so there's probably lots of stuff going on for him. Dave Chu says he's gonna have to join next week.
I knew he'd chicken out.
Rick Descate says, just don't go to Canadian Tire.
But you still have the money, Rictus.
Yeah, it just sits there, and it's such great quality paper, you know. I'm
Just
pretty sure
sit
they
on your fridge calling your name.
I'm pretty sure they what did they farm that out of the same company that did Ethiopia's money, and I think they did Venezuela's money, didn't they too?
It talks about wine and park if she doesn't get a treat immediately.
Well, that's okay. We've now got guests joining us. Fareed, good to see you. And with that awkward silence, I'll consider myself rebuked. Oh, cliff jumper, of course. Oh, I forgot that guy. Anyways, so the soul.
Oh my
huh?
God, FSX23 is here!
Just making the rounds today, I see.
I'm bored.
I'm so starstruck right now.
Oh, I was going nuts listening to Joe there.
I hope you're not mad that we stole your boyfriend.
You stole both of them. Damn it.
You made the world a better place when you found those guys.
They found me.
We were speculating on how you found each other last week, I think.
The way it started was David was just talking crap on one of my videos on a little link, and he's calling me out, come on, let's talk. So I just I said, all right, here's a link right now, and it's been magic ever since.
I think our reasoning was it seemed too much of a coincidence that you would be from the same town.
We're not from the same town.
Same state?
Same state, yeah. They're from Colorado Springs. I'm from Denver. It is quite coincidental, I have to say.
Okay.
I don't know them in real life, though.
Okay.
Well, that's just too bad. But you know, sometimes a little distance is a good thing.
I mean, honestly, I probably would prefer that they lived a little farther, but it's all right. I like keeping my internet conversations well distanced from myself.
Oh, super nice guy.
Yeah, they're cool. But when I first talked to them, if you look on Joe's page, it looks like he has all these gun videos, and it turns out they're BB guns, but
Yeah.
I was sketched out for a minute at first, but Joe's a really cool guy, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get on Joe's bad side, but pretty sure I could kick Dave Sarchet's ass with one hand behind my back, my eyes closed. Unless he's going to like want me to death or something.
Well, we're pretty cordial normally, so I guess I can't really go there as far as threatening anybody. I wouldn't kick Dave's ass. I would give him a high five.
I'm not threatening anyone. I scoff at his threats. He did threaten me in a YouTube video that he since deleted after I commented on it and posted it to Reddit.
See, that's why whenever someone posts a video, just record it right away.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Fabio?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Great. It's good to be up on your shelf.
Yeah.
We're way higher now.
There was a cliff jumper. I'm sorry interrupting. I know it's really rude, but cliff jumper expressed the desire to jump in the hangout. I don't know if you know the guy.
I don't know if he knows how to. I've posted an invitation for him. I don't know if he knows how to get to it, but I can try to send him a link manually here also.
Yeah, I was on
the cliff jumper.
I was on a hangout with him earlier today. He's pretty adept.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, no, we know Dave really well.
Yeah, cool. No, I just asked because I don't know if because I was just in the other hangout. It was following you guys, so it was trying to get in, and then I got the invite from John. It was all.
No problem. Yeah, no, Cliff invited you on your behalf. So, what do you guys think of that? I mean, there's a lot to what Joe was saying in his theology, right? He's got a lot wrapped up in the idea of soul and ensoulment in the development process of people, right? So, I mean, what would you guys say to that when you're kind of dealing with that discussion?
I generally just discuss the brain. As far as I'm aware, everything we consider soul is encompassed within our mind, our brain, and I don't see them providing something outside of that would require something immaterial. Everything that we consider ourselves has been explained by neuroscience, so I personally have no need for anything like a soul.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of sort of consider it an emergent property of kind of a very complex organ that we call our brain, right? And it seems like neuroscience kind of supports that idea, right? Whenever we kind of look at it closer.
Right. And the thing was, I mean, he was saying a little kid could realize that it's wrong to kill a dog or something, and I just didn't see where he was going with that. Why does that require something immaterial in order to recognize that? And I was also going to say a little kid may very well see you shoot their teddy bear and get the same effect as you shooting their puppy because they just don't have the mental capacity to distinguish.
But he also reversed his position when I pointed out that at a certain stage of development, the dog would be more worked up about losing the infant. And then,
especially at 2 years, a dog would be super able to experience that kind of emotion, right?
Hey.
Hey, Nate. Good to see you, bud.
Hey. Cliff Jumper's on his way.
Nate the robot battler Franklin.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I just found out that there's no school tomorrow for me, so I'm really happy.
Lucky bastard.
Yep.
And I took a semester off, so yay.
Yeah.
Good on you.
More time for drugs and alcohol. What's up, Cliff Jumper?
Hi there, how you doing?
Good, long time no speak.
Oh,
Yeah, I
you're
have
still
been
up?
a few weeks. Although I did watch you having your discussion with Jason a few weeks ago, and I thought that was funny yet tragic.
Yeah, it was a little sad, actually.
It was. Will you please leave? Will you please leave? It's like, oh wow.
I honestly worry about him. Like.
Yeah, me too.
Like he's one of those people that everyone wants to hate, but at the same time you can't help but feel bad for him.
I don't hate him at all.
No, I disagree. I mean, I find him I find it odd how incredibly lovable I find him, even though I disagree with him so passionately, and he seems to sometimes not understand what people are kind of complaining about. I find it weird how adorable I still find him sometimes.
I think like he's able to hurt some people, but he's not able to injure me in any way, shape, or form. Like, there's nothing that Jason Burns could possibly do that would affect me. So I just feel sorry for the guy at the end of the day. I don't, it pissed me off a little bit, some of the stuff that he did to other people, but But I did have a bit of a moral dilemma there too when he wanted me to leave. I did have that moment where I thought about it, but my thought process was just basically that I didn't do anything wrong to him, and it's just a Google Hangout. He doesn't own the internet, so I decided to just stand my ground. And I wasn't in Auntie's attic with him. We were just in cyberspace in a virtual room. So I just decided that I didn't want to leave.
Was it his channel that he was running, or was he on someone else's as well?
No, it was a live hangout he's having, and he invited any atheists that wanted to have a friendly discussion. So I was having a friendly discussion, and then all of a sudden he decided to kick me out, and I was like, well, you can't kick me out of cyberspace, so I just decided to stay. I just had like a little virtual sit-in, you could say.
I mean, I have to admit, I have to be the one person who's never bought into the Jason Burns phenomenon. I don't get the whole point of him. I mean, he seems like he plays the victim left and right. And yes, by the videos I've seen from him, I'm very sure he does have some mental issues going on. But if you look at the kind of videos he puts out against other people, he's the last one to cry foul. If he feels it's so rough, I mean, look what he does to others. It's laughable.
This is the problem. I mean, this is the dichotomy that's going on there. He's saying horrible things about people, and then when they archive what he's saying, because he will, say something horrible, delete the video, and then say, "I didn't say that. You're making it up." So therefore, people have archived him because he has proven himself to be untrustworthy on that regard. And then he's complaining that this channel exists. Well, you can't have it both ways.
I just don't have any sympathy for people who act like bullies and then cry foul when someone criticizes them. I could care less if it hurts his feelings. If he doesn't want to be on YouTube, he can leave YouTube. He doesn't need to announce his departure from YouTube every other day.
Yeah.
Just, who cares?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, by the way, he makes two of us, which that get involved in the Jason Burns stuff. So at least we can set up a club, me and you. But
yes.
But you're right. I mean, as far as I saw, I mean, there is what you said, and also the fact that from what I saw as really independent, because I couldn't be bothered by that, is I mean, he had his chances. People actually helped him. And then, he went well and he started digging his own hole. And I'm sorry, but as you said, you had your chances, you played your cards, and you still want to play that game. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, you're not my son, you're not my part of my family, so...
I mean, he's not my wife, and
yeah.
I'm not in one of these relationships where I continuously get beat and go back to him. I don't care about Jason Burns. I really care less. This is literally the only time I've ever mentioned Jason Burns. He seems like a joke to me, but a lot of people talk about him for some reason. So
the thing is, it's a morbid fascination, right? Like, lots of people somehow don't enjoy watching NFL football, and that's fine, right? If you're not interested, you're not interested. But it's not that there is a level of intellectual stimulation, but it's more, I think morbid fascination is the best word. Like, it's like he never, it's like a circus freak show.
I can
well,
see...
Chris, I'm sorry, what the fact is, the fact of the matter is that nobody, I mean, it must be really specific for you to go and watch and listen to a professor or someone, telling something really intelligent while everybody stops to see a car crash, If something is flamboyant, it polarizes people, and they will stop, to listen, to watch, do stuff. Now, is it something important? Is it something deep? Has it got a message to say? I don't know. It's not up to me. I just know that when I'm driving the car and I see a car crash, I just stop and watch. Because it's part of
I've been on. Wait. I've
But I
been
mean,
on,
if
oh,
a
sorry.
car crash now would be like I would stop and give first aid, right? And if I see car crash videos on the internet, I watch them and see how they could have been averted because I drive a lot.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of missed your point, to be honest.
I think
I get where he's coming from, and I have that morbid fascination too, but mine is more like the Hovind family. And they're a lot more entertaining than Jason Burns. They put out a higher quality bullshit product.
Yeah.
Jason Burns is
it's more
just sitting
polished.
around in his house munching on carrots, talking about nothing. I mean, he's not even entertaining. The Hovinds are creating detailed explanations of how a T-Rex is a vegetarian. Now that is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I think so I've been on YouTube for almost 5 years, and I've seen internet drama come and go. I remember years ago there was this kid, this teenager, he made a video where he talked about the top 10 hottest Sonic characters, and we were all baffled by why someone would make such a thing. But sometimes I feel like Jason Burns has gone the next step. Like the kid who made it, he sort of went out of there and that came and go. But then Jason Burns, he just finds multiple ways to to say really terrible things and never think about what he's saying.
And I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but doesn't Jason Burns have a website where he receives money?
I don't know. I know he has a website.
He just set that up the other day. He just added a donate button, but no, it's.
Oh,
it's
I thought he claimed to
blog.
have a ministry online.
He has a blog page that he's never actually managed to set up
He does,
properly.
but I actually have video of his ministry.
Yeah.
And that's a pasting table with some Christian leaflets on it. I mean, it's literally that.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is that I get up in the morning, I turn on the coffee machine, I boot up the computer, and I open up YouTube or Google Plus, and there's a myriad of Jason Burns videos and not that much else. And so it's just really easy to just click on a quick 3 minutes of craziness while I'm, minding my business in the morning, and it just became
It's like
part of
your
my
daily
routine.
your daily Jason Burns quitting YouTube video. I mean,
Yeah, or
it's
he
like,
and then they're on the opposite.
Groundhog Day.
They're in the opposite time zone, so I get up and it's like, okay, well, what the fuck did Jason do last night?
The problem he's got right now is that he's under the impression that if he makes, 30 videos a day for 2.5 minutes each one, that is going to swallow up the 1,500 videos that we have on him. And this is a universal we, because I don't know who it is that's got this archive channel. Do any of you? But the thing about it is, what he doesn't realize about YouTube is that it has nothing to do with how many videos you put up. It's the quality of them. That it's how many hits it's got, how many watches it's seen. That's where it will be rated, and that's the reason why when you type in Jason Burns, you get all the crazy stuff, because loads of people have watched it and went, "What the hell?"
Yeah, what he doesn't realize is you can't reason with the internet. You can't go onto the internet and be like, "Hey, can you stop making fun of me?" That does not work. That's almost the opposite of what you want to do. You want to shut your mouth, and then the internet will start making fun of you. If you go out and petition YouTube people to voluntarily leave you alone, you're just asking for trouble.
It's the biggest kindergarten in the world, which has
Right.
ever existed. Yeah.
I think I feel like with Jason, I feel like he's trying way too hard to become an expert theologian, to the point where he just isn't thinking straight. He thinks that if he pumps out all these 2-minute videos, he's going to become like a world-class theologian and get like so much fame, but the reality is exactly the opposite.
He demands quality, 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 but he delivers quantity, 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 quantity.
Yeah, but Nate, even if your point is true, which might be, I mean, his aim is completely off,
Right. I mean, he's doing it for reputation, right? It seems like kind of his way to kind of shortcut his way into a lot of these conversations and circles. He's kind of wading into theology by just kind of asserting things and making a ton of videos directed at atheist members, right? He's kind of just creating a niche for himself, and I think that there's something to be admired about it. But yeah, I mean he rarely comes through with the meat of what we're really looking for in that sort of critique.
The only meat he's really provided is a tsunami.
Yeah, I mean
cancer of the penises.
There's a lot to there's a lot
the cancers. Sorry.
There's a lot of entertaining stuff in his videos sometimes, and we find like a lot of golden moments. I do, anyways. Just hidden amongst the tsunami of work that he does.
Yeah, I think the reason why I find him so interesting is because I know the guy. I've met him half a dozen times. He's a street preacher in Manchester, and I live in Manchester.
You got any fresh video?
Nothing. The last thing I got was about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, which I've showed around a few times.
All right. Cool.
I can put it on there if you like.
As much as I revel talking about Jason Burns, he's not here to talk with us, so I'd be much happier.
I sent him an invite.
Yeah. His last couple of messages were sort of going on about closing of the archive channels from what I saw. So I think that's his big beef right now. I don't know if you noticed, but the other archive channel are his scholarly videos. And one of the things he's made the complaint about is that he's lost all these scholarly videos because of the atheists, although no one made him not keep a copy of these things, of course, of his originals. What he's not mentioning about that other archive is that it's really just chronicling all of his videos and putting them immediately into a private file. So really, it's basically just letting him know every time they upload a video, and he's mad about that, but he can't actually, after a few minutes, he can't actually access them off the channel. So it's sort of interesting, right?
He's going down starting to go down the same path as Christian Weston Chandler. Don't know if that rings a bell. He was this guy. He was kind of like Jason Burns, but instead of wanting to be a theologian, he wanted to have his own series with this fan character he created called Sonichu, which is a mixture of Sonic and Pikachu, and he was autistic, and he got the attention of a lot of trolls, and he said some nasty things, and there's a whole wiki devoted to all the terrible things he said, but there's still an archive of all of the terrible videos he's made, so it's never going away, and that's something that Jason Burns needs to know. Once you post
what's
something,
the name again?
Christian Weston. I can link you to the wiki. Hold on.
All right, guys. I'm probably gonna take off. I have to go watch my Walking Dead, but it was good jumping on here. I'll try to check it out again sometime.
Hey, FSX, I just typed in the chat there. I put my username, or if you want to give me yours, I can add it.
Sure, it's right there.
2 X's?
2 X's.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Care.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Peace, Fruit.
Funny you say Sonichu. I saw a real bad, like when the Chinese make a toy, cheap, rubbish, rip-off toy, and it's sort of Pikachu meets SpongeBob. It's kind of Pikachu, but with a SpongeBob face on it. It's just, oh, so awful
Hilarious.
looking.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, there's, what was it, Mutant Ninja Tortoise. Yeah. Oh dear, it's amazing some of the things. And you know, you've also got things like it's like something like Sonic, I don't know, Mario and Obama on a school bag.
Sonic, Mario, and Obama at the Olympic Games. That's the
So, something
Game of the Year
like that.
2014.
There's a picture of you know, it's like a school bag or whatever it is, or something of that nature, or the box of cornflakes or something. And on the front of it, it's got a picture of like the Phantom Menace, but superimposed right at the front is Arnold Schwarzenegger as you know, as he appears in Predator.
Hilarious.
Where do these things come from?
I'm kind of scared to throw it the name, but you know, talking about that stuff, I remember an hangout where G-Man had a conversation with Funny Beetle, with Gary, basically. I can't remember what he was claiming. He was claiming that the Pokemon, the Pokemon were, you know, evil, and I don't know, you know, at the sign of the devil, stuff like that. I mean, it was hilarious.
Wait, G-Man was saying that?
Yeah, I've heard him say that before. You know, that's actually pretty popular amongst fundamentalists. Though sometimes they will choose a popular fad and call it out as being evil. You know, some of the more obvious ones are Harry Potter and things like that. You know,
Dungeons and
it's
Dragons.
easy to pick on, but you know, my upbringing, you know, I wasn't allowed to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, there was a lot of various other cartoons that I wasn't definitely not allowed to watch, and along with other people who were my age. So, you know, it seems like, you know, that's a pretty common thread amongst them to pick out you know, things that are secular or of this world, and kind of claim that they have evil undertones to them.
Yeah, I can understand with something like Harry Potter, but you know, Pokemon.
Sure, it seems pretty harmless, right? Like meant to sell toys and cards, right? Not.
I think maybe it's the battling part of it or something. Maybe, I don't know.
I think it was the evolution part. Let's be
the
realistic here.
Man, you can call that evolution. That's weird.
That was funny. The evolution.
That totally makes sense, Nate. Yeah, that's
Well, they do kind of evolve in terms of characters.
Exactly, yes.
You know, Pikachu is Raichu is something else. I can't remember.
Mm.
I never was into that kind of stuff.
I loved Pokemon when I was little. The anime was like, I loved it, but looking back on it, it was probably like, it had like the dumbest, like, just like the dumbest plots ever. Like, every episode was the same, but the games were really fun.
The thing about it is, if you think about it, what's the age group? They're not aimed at our age, really. They're aimed at 8-year-olds. You know, maybe if I was 8, I'd really get into it, but...
Yeah, I mean, they know kind of what demographic they're looking for, but I mean, the thing that's being accused against them is that, you know, that they're kind of instruments of Satan or something like that, right? And like, what would you guys say about that? You know, it's how would you defend Pokemon against accusation that it's incurring demonic forces, or the idea that it's leading to something like a conjuring of powers or something like that?
I'm sorry, I wouldn't, because I'm not an idiot. I mean, the main problem, you know, this is something which really puzzles me, you know, and even with presuppositionist, you know, stuff like that, you know, or, you know, people which ask you, why is it wrong to rape babies? My point is that, you know, the question is so fucked up that when someone asks me that kind of stuff, my first reaction is, you know, man, you know, you're asking me that kind of things. There's something wrong with you, not with me, you know. So
yeah, it's weird. You know, it was weird when Joe kind of proposed to me and Chris that, you know, would you feel wrong? Like, why would you feel bad if you killed me, right? Like, and it was like really, like that was it. like that. I mean, exactly. Like when you ran yourself through that hypothetical, for me, like there was an immediate feeling of like revulsion. I was like, that's a horrific act. I would never do that. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do everything in my power to not do that to you, Joe. Like that's weird that you would just assume that I wouldn't have any sort of feeling if there wasn't this other like external power that's coming into play. It's very
no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You know, I'm sorry, Nate. Just real quick. You know, but you're absolutely right. I think that sometimes this kind of interactions they just go way over the head of the people. You know, I mean they feel compelled to answer any kind of moronic question. And there are questions which they will never answer if they made the same question while you're walking on the street. I mean, if I'm walking on the street and there's a guy approaching me and say, "Oh, what do you think is wrong to kill babies?" I'd probably punch him in the face,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the natural reaction of most of us. Nobody will stop with a complete stranger and say, "Let me think about it. Why is it? Because it's probably my worldview." Fuck off, Are you bloody stupid? I can call, the police and have you arrested, because you're fucking mental, It's unbelievable.
I agree. That's so strange. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Nate, please.
Pokemon itself, like I remembered from memory and via while you guys were talking, the Pokemon wiki. Pokemon has had its share of controversies, not just about like the whole demonic possession. Like they were like, there was a Pokemon card that had a swastika in it. Of course, it was it wasn't necessarily meant to be the Nazi swastika, but that gave it a lot of controversy. And then there were several other Hitler references. Many 9/11 references were taken out, and some unintentional racism. So.
Interesting.
Couldn't help but notice there was an awful lot of cross-dressing going on with Team Rocket.
Yeah.
The guy from Team Rocket.
There was an episode that was banned
what was that about?
Because James, one of the members of Team Rocket, had like fake breasts during like a bikini contest, and that was a number of the episodes banned. There was one banned because it gave people seizures, and it was. The title is Electric Soldier Porygon, and when people saw it, like hundreds of Japanese children were sent to the hospital.
I heard about this. It was flashing red and blue.
Yeah.
And the thing that was funny about it is that the way they highlighted this in the news was to show it again on the news and say this video caused people to have seizures, and next thing you know, there's people wobbling in front of the TV.
They had a Simpson episode when they go to Japan. They turn in the hotel. There is this, how's it called? Like seizure-inducing giant robot fighting, and
the thing with Pokemon and being Japanese, and I'm sure Cliff Jumper, if you could just wait until I'm done talking, and then you can tell us your Japanese story where red can be anywhere in the sentence. But one of the things I really like about playing Japanese video games is, it's a completely alien culture to us, right? And so a lot of their video games will have a lot of like Christian themes in them, but in odd places, and so they just have like this totally outside of the circle view on, Western culture. Which is really interesting to experience, right? Like, even like I'd like to think of myself as being outside of Christian culture, but really I'm kind of mired in it, even not having been a Christian. But to consume media that's actually truly outside our culture is pretty informative about our culture. The way that people see our culture.
There is something in Japanese where they like to take ideas of other cultures and sort of try to make something make sense, but actually it doesn't. So it's and sometimes it's just in the language. I mean, all you have to do is look at the English website to see it, and it's something like, if you use this toilet roll, your mind will feel empty all day, something like that. And what it's actually trying to say is that it'll keep you fresh. And they've taken the word fresh and sort of tried to insinuate this idea of healthy living and outdoors and fresh air and all that kind of stuff, and then just made it into your mind will be fresh, and instead it makes it out like you've got nothing in your head. You know, it's almost it's along the lines of Electrolux saying nothing sucks like an Electrolux. You know, it's a vacuum cleaner. Nothing sucks like an Electrolux.
Yeah. So, Cliff, how's the Royal British Train Replica Society doing?
Huh? What?
The esteemed and venerable Royal Manchester Model Railroad Club?
Well, you mean the model railway club that I go to that kind of drives me a bit nuts at times?
Yeah, I love the railway club stories.
I don't know what to say now because I know you're just pulling my leg.
You love me. You love me.
You're an atheist, you've got no morality. Oh dear.
So, what did you guys? I mean, what else do you guys want to talk about here? I mean, if we could get back to what the show was originally about, where we were talking to Joe about ensoulment and like where the line is about where a soul may come into a human, right? He seems like that's never really gone into in detail with the theists that I talked to, anyways. And you know, I would be curious if anybody had like a really good explanation of that.
It's not something I've particularly thought about before, and I didn't catch much of the conversation you had. I only caught the last maybe 5 minutes or so. I think the thing about it is when I think about soul and stuff like that, I think that's kind of like, you know, people saying your heart wasn't in it, or, you know, you're speaking from the heart. Well, you're not speaking from the heart at all. It's just an analogy to say the piece of me that is me, the bits, you know, the character I have. It is my soul that's saying this. And I don't think there's such a thing as a soul in, you know, as some kind of metaphysical essence. It's just the person who you are, the neurons that are firing through your brain and giving you the character you've got. It's, you know, whether it's learned behavior or your experiences in your life.
There's an increasingly shrinking hole for the soul, forgive the alliteration, and so now they're resorted to redefining things, right? So now we know that the heart has nothing to do with emotions except for the rate of blood delivery, but we still say, you know, he has heart. But, you know, as far as like the soul being a spirit, you know, there's diminishing places to stick the spirit in. There is no role for the spirit anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're quite right. Like I say, I think it's just you're trying to do. It's just a descriptive word to say this is who I am.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to have more function as kind of, you know, referring to a being, right? Or referring to, you know, it really has more of a self-referential value, I think, than really a description of an actual entity that's separate from what we might call a body or just the material of us, you know?
Yeah, when we're talking to Joe here, I'm going to talk about Joe even though he's not here because I don't think that is objectively wrong. He talks about how he's a psychology major, and I'll be keen to see at what point in getting his psychology degree that they cover soul.
I don't remember it being mentioned.
Yeah, it seems like a concept that's not really supported by any sort of medical evidence. and I'd be curious if we had anything that was really directly linked to that. I know there's popular myth about the 21 grams or something like that the soul supposedly weighs. Has anybody else heard about that?
I think it was debunked somewhere because I've heard about it too. Especially, I know they made a movie. Probably can't remember that.
Yes,
It's been debunked a million times. It's not readable.
That was a big thing, but I'm not sure. I got a reference actually.
It's not readable. It's not scientific. It's just a can't think of the word right now. It's an adjective.
Yeah. I mean, isn't soul and spirit and essence just a way of anthropomorphizing? I'm not getting the word out. That description of who you are. Isn't that? Is it as simple as that?
Well, I don't know if you can anthropomorphize your what you consider yourself, right? But I think
it can be that, but then the word loses all meaning. Like if we're saying that spirit is love, or God is love, or your soul is empathy, then the word just has no value because we already have other words that accurately describe what you mean.
But what I mean is, as a separate piece, as not the one piece of you, but a separate component of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really where the kind of the argument lies, right? Is where we don't have a distinction between us and the soul in our view, in that Joe definitely seems to be implying a definite split between what's the soul and what's the body, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he was trying to say when he was talking about the accelerator pedal on a car or something.
I never really did figure out what his point was, what the car analogy was.
I think that's what he was trying to say. It's a separate component that you can, I mean, you were saying like something you can hold in your hand, and I think that's almost the way he's thinking about it, as a separate item within you.
Yeah, but I mean, like with the car analogy, like, I remember when I got my first car and I opened up the hood and I said, "Oh my God, there's an infinite number of parts in here, and I don't know how any of them worked. So the thing must run on fucking demon power or something." But now I've broken almost every single part you could break in a vehicle and replaced it, and now I understand how basically the entire vehicle works apart from some of the computer systems, and it doesn't look infinite anymore. It looks very finite, and I understand that the system as a whole is rather complicated, but each part is pretty simple. The only hard part is knowing which part to change. So I don't need a soul in my car.
The thing I want to know is, how long have you had that car, and how heavy are you on the accelerator and brakes and things like that you need to replacing your whole car now?
Well, I mean, I baby my car, but I drive the shit out of other people's cars, and I'm actually well beyond my car phase, and now I drive a pickup truck, a diesel pickup. It's louder, stinkier, and smokier, and it vibrates a lot.
I hope you don't arrive at work cross-eyed.
Never. No, I drive a lot of different vehicles, but I do like my stunt driving, just for safety purposes, right? Like, you have to be able to know how to put a vehicle under control and regain control to be a safe driver.
Yeah.
My truck's super fun though. When John comes out this spring, I'm gonna take him for a little joyride.
Oh no!
If anyone happens to be in Western Canada in May, you're welcome to get fucked up in the woods with me and John mcdropout.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going out to the woods with the stranger I met on the internet. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I could just imagine, body found in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, body
The
not
question,
found in the
the
woods.
question, the question, yeah, the question is, which one of you is going to be the body?
Yeah, that's the question, really. I suppose we're both taking a chance.
I don't go into the woods without a lot of weapons, but John's pretty wiry and crafty, so it's hard to say what'll really happen. Also, his girlfriend seems pretty tough too.
Yeah, well, she's invisible, so it's hard to spot her.
She's not invisible. I saw her in the background the other day.
Oh, really? Yeah. We weren't doing anything inappropriate, were we?
No. She came back from work, and you said, "Oh, I gotta go."
Yeah, that happens.
That was his sister.
Which I was gonna say, which usually means that's time for sex, and then Chris says, "That was his sister."
Oh no.
So
Oh,
mad.
I do hope it wasn't like that now.
I hope John's sister isn't watching this.
Oh dear. Well, I had a nice thing happen a couple of days ago. I'm now going HD with my video camera on the bicycle.
Nice. Is it a GoPro?
No, it's nothing so expensive.
Does it have audio?
Yes, it has audio. The camera I've been using recently has not had audio because I put the batteries in back to front. But this one is 1080 HD and is waterproof, and I don't know. I haven't tried it out yet, so we'll see what happens there.
Well,
Interesting.
I think that in an hour or two you should probably head out to Piccadilly Gardens and go talk with Jason Burns.
Yeah, maybe.
It would be cool if he came. It would honestly be pretty cool if he came to this hangout. Like, I've never actually talked to him before. I mean, we exchanged one set of comments, but other than that, nothing.
Mm.
Yeah, he won't come. I sent him an invite, but it's the middle of the night there.
Yeah, 2:22 here. 3:22 for Fabio.
Yep.
Fabio's wife's gonna come in any minute now. Fabio, when are you going to bed? What's the matter for you?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I mean, you're so wrong. We've been married for more than 25 years, and she couldn't be bothered, after that long time. I mean...
He's not gonna stay up all night again with the atheists again on the computer.
Canadian doing an Italian impression. That wasn't a very good one, I must say.
Well, Italians all sound like Mario and Luigi from that video game, don't they?
Yep.
Scusi me Italiano.
It's me, Mario.
That's really funny.
Rolling a cigarette.
Anyways. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
Fabio smoking that dank Italian weed.
There's probably not a lot of that.
Blaze it.
It's a good call. So, were any of you guys, have any of you guys watched David 2 in any of our videos?
No, I noticed the comments there, and people didn't seem to like him very much. Is he a bit of a troll or something?
He's just difficult to get along with sometimes. He makes some pretty outrageous statements. But other than that, I kind of like him. He's a nice guy.
Right. Is he theist, atheist, or
I believe
what?
he's a theist. Yes, he's a Calvinist. Both those guys are.
I think the difficulty is that there, again, I think I've said it before, there's a bit of a sort of war going on in the background, sort of. And you can understand how someone like that can, be kind of forced into an idea of circling the wagons and, coming out fighting rather than, having a proper debate about things. So I can understand why they might be somewhat more belligerent.
Yeah, I know know with my background, I mean, there's a lot to it where it's about being, there's always this battle on, because it's about spiritual forces that are acting in the background. Everything's kind of a result of powers and principalities that are in control of the world, and so there is this kind of underlying conspiracy when you start talking about a spiritual level, like, you know, a spiritual plane where there's things going on that are out of our observance and not in our control, but are affecting us anyways. I think once you make that leap, it's easy to come to kind of this you want to know what the conspiracy is, right? I mean, you want to kind of have a finger on how it affects you, and I think that's kind of where it is. You know, it's a lot about motivating people to see that conspiracy, I think.
Yeah. Also, you've got the idea of you know, when you start digging into people's belief system, worldview, things like that, you know, you tend to be more defensive. I mean, how often? I think I've probably heard Fiona, you know, say about how don't forget I'm here too, kind of thing, because people will rag on the theists and things like that, while she's in there and saying, well, I'm a theist, I'm just not one of these, you know, fundamentalist types.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could definitely fall in danger of kind of equivocating and putting people in groups, right? You know, and trying to define their position from their grouping, and I mean, that's always something to be wary about, I guess, when we're talking to people. To try to ascertain what they actually believe, which is how we kind of, you know, we try to do with Joe. I mean, you guys didn't see it, but a little bit before we started, we were trying to kind of narrow down some definitions with Joe, just so we weren't kind of flying blind into that conversation. So I know it kind of sounded like we kind of jumped right into it, but we kind of made sure we had kind of an idea of where he stood already before we jumped in.
Yeah.
But it can be really tough. You know, even in just general conversation, trying to ascertain what a person's actual beliefs are, even when they tell you what group they identify with.
Yeah. How much of a fundamentalist are they?
Yeah.
What's the degree?
I find even some people who call themselves literalists will be really flexible, right? Like,
yeah.
They're sort of the honor of having the title of literalist, but you know, they definitely take a very liberal view of interpretation in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I also think that, you know, on their defense, again, I'm generalizing here, which is just what we just said. It's wrong, but most of the hangouts, I mean, I can kind of understand them. You know, well, first of all, there's the fact, as Cliff was saying before, that, you know, when you're talking about the belief of people, I mean, the least you should expect is that it gets really, well, not heated, but I mean, at least passionate, you know, in a good way. You know, he wants to defend his point. It's only correct. And the other thing is that, you know, one of the things that I see that it's lacking is that the way that sometimes the subject is managed and, you know, is dealt with is really confrontational, which, I mean, it really goes nowhere, you know, and it goes nowhere from both ways, because I mean, there will never be, you know, a believer which gets deconverted, you know, listening to an hangout, and never be an atheist which gets converted and listening to an hangout. You know, it's pointless. The only thing you can do is try to discuss, you know, differences, and, you know, knowing that there are differences, and probably nobody will change his mind about them, especially if they are faith-based, you know. So, I mean,
I'm not sure about that. I mean, if Andy Jack, he changed, and I think it was a gradual thing, you know, that he listened to enough opinions that he kind of finally had to admit that, you know, he'd been going with this thing. I don't know.
I don't know the guy. What I'm thinking is that if he probably came to a different conclusion, it wasn't because he saw hangouts where people were shouting at each other. That's my point. You know.
So. It could be, though. The thing is, though, like there's there's always the lurkers, right? So there's the people that are just observing the conversation, and then there can be value for the participants, whether it's just entertainment or feeling more secure about what they believe. And then just because there's some people having a scream-a-thon on the internet doesn't mean that there aren't other people doing it in another way. And everyone just needs to just watch what they want to watch and not be so worried about critiquing people's approaches, right? There's a myriad of approaches that are going on all the time, and some people like a good screaming match and some opponent, and other people don't, right? Like it's.
No, you're absolutely right. What I'm saying is that even if you're a believer or not, it doesn't really matter. If you have a shred of a doubt, I don't think that someone will change his mind because you see 4 or 5 people shouting at each other, even because you won't understand nothing about the argument itself. So, well, there is the other side of the coin, which if you make the conversation really boring, nobody's going to watch them anyway. So you got to find a good balance. But I don't think the balance resides in a shouting match, because it really goes nowhere for everybody. Everybody, turns out to be a fool, and that's pretty much it,
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with screaming at people. I mean, it can be cathartic.
Oh no! I agree with you. I'll be the first one.
And then guys like this David guy, like I don't for 1 second think that I'm going to change his mind, and I don't even think that it would be good to change his mind. But some part of me enjoys pointing out the contradictions that he's putting forward. It's like a game for me to say, okay, well, here's where you just contradicted yourself, and for some reason, I enjoy trying to point out places where he's inconsistent or contradictory, and then, however that plays out on the internet is how it plays out. But, I don't even really know what my goal is. I don't really have a horse in the race. I'm not really anti-theist. I just find it, for whatever reason, enjoyable.
I think it's just nice to hang out with people that, you can communicate with.
No,
I mean, for me, one of my big motivations for this is, as someone who's got agoraphobia, I don't go out, I don't mix with people, and this is the equivalent of going to the pub, but finding a pub full of people who actually have brains rather than empty beer glasses.
You couldn't go to a pub, and the thing is, if you went to a pub, you're never going to find 5 people from all over the world that happen to share your common interest.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Yeah,
it's true. I was telling Nate this the other day, when you grow up, I got my golf friends, right? I don't try and get my friends to go play golf with me. I have friends that are golfers, and you guys are my atheist philosophy friends. Yeah. And, you have these different groups of friends, especially with the internet, your video game friends. And
yeah, I mean, one of the things you've done for me, Chris, is to make me think about my atheism and where it all came about. Because one of the things I remember you saying some time ago was how most of the people you see were ex-Christians or whatever who have come to atheism, and you basically said, well, I've always been this way.
Yeah.
And it made me think about myself, and I came to the conclusion that I have somewhat been the same. Although I went to school and we had to do hymns and an assembly, and I took part in a, Christmas nativity scene and all those sorts of things, I wasn't really a believer. I was just someone who was going along with the motions because that's what everybody else did.
Did you hear? Do you watch the Atheist Experience regularly?
Yeah, I love that show. I've watched.
Because a couple weeks ago they touched on it because Hemet Meta made this list of things that atheists shouldn't say, and so they were discussing this. People saying I've always been an atheist, and but they don't really like that because it kind of devalues the topic or whatever. But they call it passive atheism, Yeah, technically, if you define atheism as a lack of belief in a god, technically, and you never had that, then technically you were a baby or an atheist since you were born and babies are atheists, but it's a passive atheism as opposed to a I forget what the antithesis of that is. Can anyone think of what the opposite of a passive atheist would be offhand?
Well, I mean the opposite, a passive theist.
No, it's another word. But anyways, their just point is that and we've had this discussion with other people around John, where some people would say, "Oh, you couldn't be an atheist until you're presented with theism." That would be the opposite of a passive atheist, is when you're presented with it and reject it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't get overcomplicated. Like in my mind, I never changed, right? Like I'm looking at it from my perspective. From my perspective, I've always been an atheist. I never believed in a God, and then I heard about God claims, and then I didn't believe them, and nothing about me ever changed. So I guess I went from being a passive atheist to an active atheist, or to rejecting theism.
Yeah, I first read the Bible when I was 8, and the reason why I read it was because people were saying this book is important, you should read it. And when I read it, I went, what the hell? This makes no sense. This is rubbish. So that's when I became a proper atheist, I suppose you could say. But even then, I mean, we still had to do hymns in assembly, so I did them anyway, but I just didn't do the believing thing. I just kind of rolled my eyes and dreamed of Kansas, as it were.
I honestly, I was kind of one of those douchebag atheists when I first became an atheist. Like I thought, I'm an atheist now. I have to tell people there's no God. I mean, I don't think I ever did that. Like I wanted to for like half a second when someone mentioned God in school, but I didn't. And I don't know. I luckily wasn't one of those fedora wearing euphoric atheists that post on Reddit. Chris, I know you post on Reddit, but not those really crazy atheists that are in this moment, I am euphoric, not because of some phony God's blessing, but because I'm enlightened by my own intelligence. I freaking hate those guys.
Those aren't, it's not because they're atheists, it's because they're fucking hipsters. Hipster douchebags like John McDropout with his dumb glasses there. And his fucking post-ironic modern goatee.
He's got my number. I don't know. That was a good burn, Chris.
Sick burn, dude.
Yeah, sick burn. It's fun. I'll be right back. I need another drink after that fierce drubbing I've just received.
I won John McDropout.
He needs to put the fire out. The fire that's burning inside.
He's trying to pretend he's not pissed right now.
He's just gonna mute his mic, just walk away, and just start screaming, and just smashing everything.
Is he screaming into the sink? Ah! Oh dear, poor John.
I'm done with these people.
I wonder if the audio's on still. Is he listening to this as we say it? Dear.
He'll listen to it again later. That's kind of the main reason that I do these on-air hangouts, is because my favorite part about drinking is waking up the next day and seeing all the inappropriate things I said on the internet the day before. Oh, John's back, everybody. Everyone just...
What I missed?
Like it never happened.
Yeah. Anyway.
This is live. You can look at what we said about him a minute ago. Damn.
Oh, hey, John.
Hey, guys.
I'm only pulling your leg, John.
That's all right. Wouldn't be the first time people have slagged me in my own hangout. So, what else do you guys want to? You guys have on your mind? Anything interesting going on this week in the circles. I noticed the Richard Raspberry hangout was kind of on people's.
This guy is insane.
Jesus Christ.
I really admire his ability to spin absolute bullshit in a really it's amazing how he's able to like reference himself and create all these like finely constructed fake papers and things like that. It's very it's I don't know, it's a convincing
He's an idiot, but he's a really smart idiot.
Convincing?
If that makes any sense.
yeah, it's convincing if he's faking it, right? That's what I was going to say. Like, I mean,
okay. Yeah.
if he's faking this sort of ignorance, I mean, he's doing so much work to do it. It seems like he's very genuine in his desire to prove his point, and I don't know if he's going about it the right way, but the sheer amount of work he puts into spinning these stories is it's amazing.
I don't know. I don't know if he's faking or not. I think so far, in the last months, the best one is MG42 Pillbox. I mean, it is the master. And
yeah, I mean, he's amazing, really. Would you like to talk to him? He's probably up for a hangout if you want to.
The thing with MG2 Pillbox is there's no point in inviting him with 5 people here. I'd be happy to talk to him any day, but there needs to be a maximum of 3 people, and the one person's only job is to mute him so that you can actually say something, because he will just he'll just rant the whole thing.
And also, if I'm right, it would be pointless, because, I mean, my opinion of the guy, I mean, I've watched some hangouts, never been in one of these, and I have no intention of doing that, but my opinion is that he's faking, and he's really good. I mean, the guy is brilliant. He has his script prepared, he's quick on the replies, he can push a button in 2 minutes straight. He's absolutely brilliant, and if he's faking, he's all my admiration for that, because he's a really good troll. But that's what I think. I can't believe the guy is serious. I
don't think he's faking, because his behavior is totally consistent with somebody that's like on methamphetamine or something like that. Like, he can't sit still, right? He has to go outside, and he's a tweaker, right? Like,
wait, was MG42 Pillbox? I forget. He was on the Bastard cast, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was he the guy that was in his garden the entire time?
Yes, the guy with the turtles.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
And, yeah.
I only paid attention to his garden. Like, his arguments were like...
I still think he's fake. I don't know about Raspberry, though. I don't know about him.
I've seen him before, but, like, he's just
the thing
weird.
with both these guys, I think they're, like... It's not that they're the dumbest people in the world, like someone like G-Man is profoundly stupid, right? But Richard Raspberry and Pillbox and almost willing to put Matthew Bell in there with them, where they somehow think that they're qualified to debate an expert in any field at any time. So, despite them not having any education in the field, they somehow think that they can educate the experts in that field, and that's what cripples them, not the inability to absorb and process information, but
I don't agree with the term stupid, and I think it's you put too many people in the same box, but
I mean, G-Man has that same attitude problem, but he has the excuse of being legitimately stupid. But I think Pillbox and Raspberry and Matthew Bell, they're not cripplingly stupid. They have crippling attitude problems, if that makes any sense. And then G-Man is at his own level where he has that problem and profound stupidity.
I think like Dr. Phil there.
This is all very unscientific.
Yeah. I think the best description there is legitimately stupid.
Yeah, I bet you it's genuine, if not legitimate.
This is reference to G-Man.
Well,
G-Man doesn't know what words mean. Like, you can't. I mean, if you don't even understand basic words, like you're doomed before you even start.
It can be, right? I mean, I worry that we just judge them too quickly, right? Like I prefer to think everybody's trying to come at it genuinely, or at least as much as they're willing to project out here on the internet.
But I've been judging G-Man for a long time.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, with enough interaction, I suppose you're going to get a really good idea of what the person's like. I mean that's sort of, I guess, my impression of
the last one I heard him of. It wasn't his most recent broadcast, but the last one I tried to listen to was where people were telling him about how we can observe stars forming, and he's like, oh, well, how long does it take a star to form? 1 or 200 million years. So have you been alive for 1 or 200 million years? He's like, really? Are you that fucking stupid? Right?
Wait, who said that?
G-Man.
Oh, God.
So he thinks that to see a star form that you'd have to be alive for 100 million years. As opposed, you couldn't just observe different stars and different stages of development and observe the moment when a star turns to light and, gather all this data. In his mind, somehow that doesn't constitute observing stars. He thinks that, no, you'd have to be there. He just... Have you seen...
You have to watch every single star, not just watch them as a group and
he just doesn't get the fucking...
similarities between them.
Yeah, he just doesn't get the concept, right? Like, I hope he's being dishonest, but I just don't think he is, right? And his whole theory...
I've never asked him about this question, but for example, in the middle of January, Messier 82 went supernova. Cigar Nebula, there was a supernova in that galaxy. And, that's 12 million light years away. So it's taken, even if it's not been slowed down by gravitational eddies or whatever, it's still taken that light at the minimum 12 million years to get here.
Yeah.
And we're only just observing it now. If he's the kind of person that thinks the universe is 6,000 odd years old, how does he equate for something like that?
They say that the light was created in transit.
Hey, good night, Fabio.
Night, Fabio.
Yeah, Cliff, they'll say that God created the universe to look that way.
Duh.
When you have magic,
some kind of idiot?
When you have magic, you can just do anything.
Mm.
I still think my favorite, theist that we've been talking with is probably the Bible-thumping wingnut, just because, he's more of a douche than he is, an idiot. He's just, he just says some of the most, ignorant, willfully ignorant things and just makes crap up.
Well, the Richard Raspberry's like that. He just doesn't carry the sense, the common sense. Whereas Bob Thumper Wingnut, he does have he's almost like an evil genius kind of thing. He's just got that sinister.
No. There's no genius there.
Maybe not genius, but you know what I mean. He's just got that kind of, Dr. Evil thing about him, where he just sort of is waiting to just,
I don't see that at all. I see him as being really fragile and really insecure and just kind of devoid of love, basically. That the 40-year-old that never kissed a girl or whatever. It's he's just... People that are secure don't act like that, and his whole crew all act like that. Whether it's repressed sexuality or low self-esteem or having a horrible history or coming from horrible circumstances. I don't know what it is, but they need to be in this little club where they pat each other on the back and make each other feel better about themselves for whatever reason, right? That's it. They're not on a search for truth. They're not trying to save souls. They're just desperate people.
Ego inflating.
They're desperate to feel okay about themselves no matter what it takes.
I think the Truth Wager is honestly probably the dumbest video I've ever seen in my almost 5 years in YouTube.
Yeah.
It like okay, so like they're having like a disagreement. All right, we could solve this by just like talking about it. But then Bible thumping Wingnuts like, all right, you need to pay me $500 each, and then we can solve this problem. It's like what?
But then he shifted the goalpost too. That was his whole tactic. Is like, okay, well I'll bet you this where I shifted the goalpost a little bit.
And it's like the only reason he added the money is because they're not going to do it. So then he can be like, oh, Alex Boughton and Jim Gardner didn't give us the money. They're so scared of the truth because they know that they're wrong.
No, it was elementary school level.
Yeah,
tactics.
that's what it is. It's pretty sickening.
And the thing about it is, they're not even involved in it, other than having a mate who's involved in it.
Yeah, they take orders from Psy, right? Like, and you can see it. Yeah, there was a hangout the other day where I can't remember the guy's name. Took on all three of them. I can't remember the guy's name, but he totally handled them.
And didn't they get pissed when they went off script?
Yeah, and then when they were totally getting owned, and then Bible thumping Wingnut, it's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna bow out, guys, and then he just ends the hangout. It's like, yeah, Psy just called. He said idiots need to get off the air right away because this guy's making a fool of you. He's just like, I don't think he had the realization. Like, he got the call. He was like, yeah, shut it down. You guys just got pwned.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like they have much to offer when someone actually challenges them on what they're saying. It seems like the whole position is a lot about going on the offensive, and I think that's what kind of draws them in, right? I think it's kind of alluring for people who feel a little weaker in their position to have something like that's a guaranteed attack, something that's guaranteed to be totally offensive in nature, if not in content.
Yeah, I mean, like imagine being poor Joe Roman there, where okay, we're gonna have this live show on air, and you need to prove that souls exist, and we're gonna take the default. The two of us are gonna take the default position that we haven't seen them manifest, so the burden of proof is on you to prove it. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that position. That's fucking tough road to hoe.
Right.
Like, we got it easy. We're just like, yeah, it's all right. I'm not buying in. Pretty easy position to have.
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna have to go because I'm starting to fall asleep here. It's 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning almost.
Well, that's good, Cliff. You're getting closer to normal people sleeping hours. Looks like.
Yeah,
I am, aren't I?
I'm glad you decided to start sleeping at night.
Yeah, I've had too many times when I haven't. But the main reason is I've got an essay to write tomorrow, so and I got to pump up the tires on my bicycle. So.
Okay, well, we expect some live Jason Burns video footage by next weekend, please.
Yeah, remember, you're a man on the street at this point. We need at least a 15-minute interview from you, Cliff.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Write out your questions beforehand, and we want it uploaded in full HD.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I can get the video of me riding away from him as well, because I've got 2 cameras, not just 1, 2, a rear cam now.
You got an ass camera now. That's good.
Yeah.
We can help you edit it.
Booty cam.
But no, I mean, the last video I got of him was no sound, and him saying, "Oh, you've got these videos of me," and it's like, I haven't got any videos of you.
I think I saw that one. He's going, "Oh no, not talking to you, no."
Yeah, that's it. That's how it starts off. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. You take part of those fundamentally flawed shows. I don't want to take part of you. If you take part in that, I don't want to talk to you. That kind of thing.
If he runs away, make sure you follow him.
Well, the funny thing
keep
about
your questions. That's all we need.
Yeah, the thing that was kind of amusing about it was a bunch of the UK guys were talking about sort of coming up to Manchester. We're going to love bomb him.
Love bomb.
Oh,
love
coming with some hugs and flowers and chocolates and stuff.
Flash mob.
Yeah, you know. The sort of joke was to have a little avatar, so that when we speak, we hold our avatar up in front of us, you know. So
That's hilarious.
that kind of thing.
What about this one? Have you guys seen the one, the Gold Digger video where he does listens to Gold Digger by Kanye West and does a little chair dance?
Wait, Jason Burns made a video where he does that? I have to see this.
Yeah. Gold Digger. Okay, well, I was thinking that would be a good flash mob because you could like everyone could bring their chair or whatever, and all of a sudden everyone sits down and does the Jason Burns chair dance to Gold Digger. But alternatively, it could be the Jason Burns rap video. Everyone could do that.
I'm considering honestly making a mashup of that with like a Lil Wayne video.
Hey, now let's
Jason
not
Burns
persecute
groove into
Jason
Gold
Burns.
Digger. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, the thing that was kind of funny about it is that, you know, earlier on we were talking about him wanting to get famous or something like that, and one of his videos is "Don't get famous off my back," although it says it "of my back."
And he's not in it for the money, but he wants a job and some money, but he doesn't care about money. But money.
Yeah. The funny thing about it is that he actually made a video the other day, and he finally admitted that it was just a few people. It's not the atheist leadership that's behind this. And then today he's made a video saying there's these 5 atheists that tried to have him sectioned, which is utter nonsense. And considering only a few days ago, did you catch the bit about him saying that the atheists, you know, phoned up his doctor, or they got in contact with the doctor and said he's got too many books? What he said the other day was that when he went to, it's something like Jason Burns Up Close or something like that, I think was the name of the video. And what he said in that video was that the doctor read out a bit of the police report, and what a bit of it was too many books.
Yeah. I mean, obviously...
What happened is, the police went along because there was this death threat kind of thing, you know, suicide attempt or suicide threat. So they go around, they go up to his room, and because of course he shows them to the box room and shows them the videos of these atheists, and this is what they've got, and of course he's going to sound a bit ranty because he's ranting about it. He's annoyed, he's going to be upset, of course. And the police officer looks around the room and sees all this stuff about religion, and this guy obsessed about atheism. You know, it's an obsession. That's got to be alarm bells for a professional.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't believe a word he says, right? Like, you know, are you gonna believe the crazy guy or the therapist, right? Like,
oh yeah,
he's demonstrated himself to not tell the truth and to revision history, right? So
yeah, which is ironic for the person who goes on about objective morality, isn't it?
There's probably a tiny nugget of truth in there. Like maybe the cop said, "Well, how do you move in here with all these books?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I'm half Hobbit," something like that.
I honestly, like, I mentioned this in the Priest hangout. I was with, like, when I was with Cliffhanger or what am I saying? Cliff Jumper and what is it, Fabio? I even though like his videos are terrible, I honestly love Jason Burns' videos. Like it's sort of like they're so bad they're good. Like I have several saved on my hard drive that are just so unintentionally hilarious that I watch them like over and over again.
I must admit I did get a copy of the Tsunami of Penises one. That's classic gold, that.
Yeah, I'm going to start my own mirror channel soon.
The best of Jason Burns.
I think it'd be hilarious if everybody started a mirror channel. Like, every person that watches Jason Burns has a mirror channel, so there's like a tsunami of mirror channels.
That's naughty. I couldn't do that to him. I mean, this is the thing, though. I mean, like I say, the reason why I find him so fascinating in a way is because I know the guy. I've met him, we've chatted, and, you know, he's a nice guy in person and just a lunatic on the internet. And he is he's a perfect example of those horrible internet troll types who, you know, you make a video. I don't know, he's the kind of person who someone makes a cycling video and he just has a rant at cyclists for no other reason than them existing, kind of thing, you know. And the kind of thing that you might say to someone in person, sorry, you wouldn't say to someone in person. You might type into internet with the, you know, with the safety of a screen and a certain amount of anonymity between you, but you wouldn't make a video saying these things, and he does.
Oh wait, no. For the flash mob, we should get Miley Cyrus to do an exact copy of her performance at the VMAs while Jason is preaching.
Working would be the end of Western civilization. That one.
Oh dear, I had a tsunami of twerkers.
Yeah, I just had to keep watching it.
I was in Manchester
over and over and over. I kept
and I was
watching
inundated by twerkers.
It's one tsunami after another, and I just had to keep watching it. And I'm scarred, and my children will be scarred if I have children, and I'll have to live with that.
And they're bullying me.
I'm being persecuted, and Obama and Vladimir Putin and Richard Dawkins. I know you're watching, Bill and I. Just please ask them to stop persecuting me. I want that mirror channel down.
Thunderfoot.
That was
I love you, DP, but
video.
Oh gosh, here we go.
I love you, DP, but you need to get these people to stop. I'm being cyber terrorized, and they rape me in my cyber.
He kept using the word.
Hang on, we've got the rap.
With no broke. She a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. Get down, girl, go ahead, get down. Get down, girl, go ahead, get down. Get down, girl, go ahead, get down.
The tag at the bottom, stressed. Yes.
Beauty salon with the baby Louis Vuitton under her underarms. I can tell you rock, I can tell by your charm. Forest girls, you got a flock. I can tell by your charm.
Everyone do your duck face.
She a gold digger. She ain't messing with no broke. She a gold digger. She ain't messing with no broke. Get down, girl, go ahead, get down.
Put your arms down, Jason.
Stay on the street.
18 years, she got one of your kids, got you for 18 years. I know somebody paying child support for one of his kids. His baby mama car crib is bigger than his. You will see him on TV any given Sunday. Win a Super Bowl and drive off in a Hyundai. She was supposed to buy your shorty tight coat with your money. She went to the doctor.
One thing I've noticed is he uses the word assassinate wrong. He's like, the atheists have assassinated me. And I'm thinking, if the atheists have assassinated you, you wouldn't be here talking about it. You'd be dead.
I think that he's trying to say assassinating his character, although that would suggest he had a character in the first place.
His intellect probably has been assassinated. That would explain a lot. Well, that's probably a good place to end the live broadcast. Maybe John McDropout, our fearless host. What do you think? And Cliff can get some sleep.
Yeah, totally. That's not a bad idea, and it's probably a pretty good time to end it as good as any. I'd like to
We'll start up a new one if we get any new victims. We'll just start
absolutely. That sounds good. We'll call it an after show, or maybe a whole. An after hole, maybe. So Nate, you're invited to hang out with us if you want, and
cool,
yeah,
I
thanks.
get to hang out with the cool guys.
Well, if you'd like. I don't know how cool we are, but
cool guys plus John McDropout.
John, you're just in like a different category. You're just
Jesus. I'm gonna need more liquor if we're gonna keep burning me this hard. But yeah, well, I'll end the live broadcast. I'd like to thank everybody involved with it, especially Joe. Dave and Joe will get you guys on next week, or whenever we can fit you in.
Yeah, we love you, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely,
love
Joe.
you.
It's all love coming from us over here. So thanks a lot, dudes. We'll check you later.
Goodbye.